Well, hello, welcome to Morning Coffee with Maddog Merv. The coffee's good. It's a little chilly, but it's supposed to be a beautiful day. Let's see what we got going on the channel, shall we? Welcome to Morning Coffee. Maddog Merv today. Got our French roast this morning again. No wonder I'm a big fat guy. I mean, holy cow. I always had a schmear. A schmear.
So he's probably going for bagels. He's trying to steal.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it.
I have no clue.
And I got a bunch of chores to do. Oh, who wants to do that? So for today's shout out, it's going to be one of the miniature channels that I've been watching lately, Squidmar Miniatures. And he does a lot of painting of particularly Warhammer stuff, but great painter and some great techniques that I've been learning some new things. I always like to learn new things. So check him out if you get a chance, Squidmar Miniatures. Well, there's no avoiding it at this point. Sun is roaring over the house rapidly, so we're going to have an interesting transition on today's show. I hope that those of you who did watch the trip to Virginia and the trip to the battlefield, I hope you guys enjoyed that. For some reason, whenever I do a history piece, it doesn't seem to get as much viewership, which, you know, that's fine. I started this channel not focused on one thing like cars or tanks or, you know, anything like that. I just kind of a variety. Basically, I live my life and I take you guys along for the ride. So that's why we got so much variety on this particular channel. But that was a great trip. That was one of the nicest trips I've taken in several years. It was just very relaxing. It was wonderful to be able to see a battlefield that I have not seen before, and it's been a while since I've been to a Civil War battlefield. I really enjoyed the scenery. It was beautiful, but then running into that star fort, oh wow, that was neat. I did not anticipate that down there. I'd kind of forgotten about Fort Fisher, so that was a neat experience for me. We'll talk more over time about these star forts, bastion forts, whatnot. I've been wanting to build one for my pirate ships because I've wanted to do kind of a pirate bay, if you will, diorama. And I've wanted to build a fort from that era, kind of guarding the bay type of thing. And to do one from scratch, I could do it. It'd just be a lot easier to have a starting point. So that's why I went ahead and purchased this particular one. It's going to work. I'm going to make it work for what I want to do. It's not as large as I would like it to be, but again, it's going to work for what I'm going to do. And down the road, we'll have a show, probably sometime next year. Don't know when I get around to it, but we'll have a show on this fort that's going to guard my my pirate bay, if you will. So it's been one of those things I've wanted to create for quite some time, so I'm finally going to get to do it. And on the Kit Hoarder Stash this week, it was, you know, why not try something different? First time I think I've reviewed a laser cut model. Like I said, it wasn't what I expected it to be. I didn't read the description well enough. With that said, it built up just fine and it looks good. It's a good start for what I'm going to do. But the idea of kind of looking at it real quick, I mean, there's no numbers on it at all, but on the instructions, which made no sense. But in going to review something like that, it only took a few minutes to look at it. And I thought, well, we'll probably go ahead and build this, but the build was going to take like 3.5 hours. So, and that was just monotonous to sit there and watch me glue. I thought, well, what we'll do is we'll do a live piece that kind of shows the finish of it and some of the other stuff that's really going on the bench, so you guys get a first-hand view of all the craziness I've got going on there. So for me, it was kind of fun to do something different. Doesn't look like it was real well received, but hey, for those of you who watched it and liked it, you know, great. I'm glad that it's something you liked. We may do more of that kind of stuff. Who knows? Who knows what we'll do? We have something else coming up this next week on the stash, and that will be on Halloween. So we'll see what that is. Now, as far as tomorrow's show goes, for tomorrow's show, we're going to do our last installment of Halloween for this year. There's a few pieces that I really want to show you guys that I've built, enhanced, put together for this walkthrough. And so I want to show you guys those. Again, they definitely have a lot to do with modeling and painting. And then we're going to do a walkthrough of the haunt that we have here. Now, here's the catch on what's going on here in Utah. So August into September, we had the monsoon season. So as soon as I started putting things up, they would blow over, blow away. I mean, it was just a season. For that, you'd have a nice, beautiful day, and then the afternoon, evening, you'd get 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's not good. Well, this time of year, it's usually pretty nice. The temperature's pretty decent. We've actually been into the record high range. I think the other day it was 77 degrees, which set a record for that date. But the bottom tends to drop out. So you'll have several days of 70 degrees, then all of a sudden, boom, you will drop the next day 25 degrees for your high. And that's kind of what's been happening here. You'll get nice build up, and all of a sudden, boom, the bottom falls out. And usually in October, last half of October somewhere, there is a big change in the weather. It happened 2 years ago for the pirate party. The week I wanted to have it, it was beautiful and nice. Could have had it outside. The next week, it was raining and snowing and nasty. This weekend, in fact, today we are scheduled to have a high in the low 70s. Wow, that's neat for towards the end of October. Here's the problem: starting tomorrow, it gets cooler, and I think Tuesday we're down about 30 degrees. Somewhere in the 40s for the high, and rain, possibly snow, meaning that when that storm blows over, when we get to Halloween, it's going to be cold. So whether or not we have any storm system on Halloween or not remains to be seen, but it's going to be cold. So that kind of dampens the haunt a little bit. I don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters anyway, but the idea was to be able to have them come through the haunt and get the candy at the end of the haunt. If it's really cold and nasty, obviously no. I'll be sitting in the front room waiting for the doorbell to ring. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, tonight I've got family coming over. They're going to do the walkthrough. I'm going to do the walkthrough for you guys so you guys can see what we've done this year. You've kind of seen some of the things I've put together, but we're going to have the whole enchilada for tomorrow's show. So stay tuned for that. Well, you did get to see, those of you who tuned into the live, great. And if you didn't, go back and check it out. See how that fort turned out, built, and see the other stuff that's going on the desk. There's a lot going on right now. My son, who is doing Warhammer 40K with his son, and he is a very successful young businessman. He's a good dad, and for him to get into this with his son, I think is just awesome. His son is learning how to paint. I've been teaching him, and believe it or not, he's paid attention. Some of his projects look great. I mean, it's like, wow, really? This is your first time doing this? He's really picked it up well. So it's been a lot of fun. I've got to spend some time with them that normally we don't spend as much time as I'd like to together. But this was a great opportunity for me to spend time with my son and with my grandson. And so you see all that Warhammer stuff that I've got there that I'm painting for him. And then I'm, well, I've kind of gotten into myself because it's something I can play with them. Now, we're not going to go to some games store, and I'm not going to sit there and play, there. But we can play in the living room here, do our own little thing. And I think that would just be so much fun to do with my son and my grandson. So I've picked up a group of what's called Blood Angels. They're Marines, but they're a special version of Marines, if you will. And so I'm starting to paint them. Eventually, we'll have a show and show you guys that little army that I'm going to build and how I'm going to do it and why I'm going to do it the way I do it. Anyway, so I've got that going on. I've got that Flash from Dukes of Hazzard that Mark 3D printed. He's going to go real well with the other dogs that I've got and the dogs and the convertibles that I was working on. So that's going to be a fun piece to finish up. And then I couldn't resist when I was checking out something on eBay, and it gives you a bunch of suggestions. And there's this 25th scale pirate gal. I'm like, okay, I got to have that. So she came 3D printed, has a little monkey on her shoulder. Really nice piece. This is a well printed 3D piece. So I'm looking forward to getting her painted and finished as well. Then you saw I got a U.S. Marine from the Pacific that I'm working on. Just a lot of stuff on that desk right now. And I'm having a ball. The little bit of time I get to spend actually modeling, I am having a ball doing it. So it's a good time of year. The only anxiety is waiting for the bottom to drop out and that first inch of snow to hit. Yay! No, not yay, because then we're into crap weather until April. So yeah, not looking forward to that. But anyway, there you go. There we are for this week. Our morning coffee. Sun is definitely over the house now. And the coffee's still really good this morning. You folks have the rest of a great weekend. I hope that you get to enjoy some of this wonderful weather as well before it comes to a screeching halt. So we'll see you tomorrow for the walkthrough of the Halloween display. Take care.